I practice escapism usually by going on social media, hanging out with friends. I watch TV occasionally, I draw, I read, I take naps, I sit on the couch.
Well, I guess I like to build things a lot, so that kind of takes my mind off of other stuff, such as, I don't know, I've had a bad day, you know, something bad happened with my family, and I don't want to talk about it, so I just kind of take my mind off of it by applying my thought to something else. Another thing I like to do is play Flight Simulator. I know that's stereotypical to me, but I like the idea of being able to just kind of escape the bounds of the Earth, and that just kind of lifts my thoughts up into the clouds. I'm making really bad puns right now, but that's another way I take my mind off of stuff.
When I practice escapism, I normally either listen to music or maybe play some music or play video games possibly.
I practice escapism usually by reading. I read a lot and I put myself in the places of the characters because it helps get away from the bad things in life.
I've been trying to get better as far as how often I practice escapism. It used to be pretty regularly, and by regularly I mean daily, in which I just procrastinate on basic stuff like doing my homework, doing chores, and it would always come back to bite me. So, I've realized that that's not the best way of coping, so I've just kind of been doing my work more.
Well, I'd say about like 3 times a week. You know, it really depends on what's going on in my life at the moment, but in most cases, an average amount of time that I do is about 3 times a week. I'll go and do something to take my mind off of it, but I guess because I do build things every day and I do a lot of flights in Flight Simulator, it's, you know, it's very common for me not to even think about that type of stuff, so.
I practice escapism normally every day, every time I'm feeling upset.
I don't practice escapism often, but probably like a few times a month, maybe.
Do you think that's enough time, too little time, or just the right amount?
For me it's the right amount of time, but I don't really have that many issues in my life that make me want to practice escapism. So maybe for someone else they would want to do it more or less.
I practice escapism because it is generally a lot more fun than whatever it is that I'm supposed to be doing.
I suppose a lot of times why I do this is because, well, I'm not really the most social person, and that kind of, I don't know, I notice that on myself, by myself. I see things that other people get to do with their friends, and I don't really do that with anybody, you know. I just kind of sit at home and build. So I guess that kind of comes to me, and I'm just sad about it almost, you know. Don't really have a social life. But I guess it's not really helping me at the point that by my way of escaping it is exactly what limits me from happiness. So I guess my form of escapism isn't as good as others.
I practice escapism to calm myself down whenever I'm upset about anything really.
The reason why I practice escapism is because sometimes when things get too overwhelming, it's much easier to put yourself in a situation that's already been written and you know will have somewhat of a happy ending, and it's more easy to control than your own life.
What do you think are the positives of escapism and why?
I think everybody needs some way or some outlet to kind of get things out when they're stressed out. And I think escapism can be really positive. Like some people like to do things like sports. They like to go running. Like I know Dan likes to go running a lot at the end of the day because he needs to just get his mind on something else. I do a lot of road biking, so I do that a lot at the end of the day when it's warmer out. And I think it also can be beneficial if, for example, you're really tired of doing research on a certain topic. It could lead you into, research in something else. So it could lead to like a new interest possibly, or it could lead to like new connections to different people as well. So I think there can be a lot of positives related to escapism.
What do you think are the negatives of escapism and why?
Well, I think that sometimes people use escapism to avoid doing tasks that they don't want to do. So it could be like, for example, you have your project block creation phase that's due on the 23rd. But instead of doing that, you're like, you know what, I think it's more important to clean my room because I want my room to be clean, so I need to escape to do that. Or I think it's more important to, talk with Miranda, my lab partner, because I think that doing this lab is more important than getting my project done. So I think it's not only students, I think adults do this as well. I think that it could be maybe your taxes are due, and instead of doing your taxes, you would rather read a book, because that's more important to you. So I think, I don't think there's a lot of serious negatives to it. I think it's more of a matter of just kind of wasting time or diverting your time from maybe a task that needs to be done to a task that doesn't really need to be done.